The Detroit Lions are kings of the NFC North, but to Packers and Bears fans, they think that they might just have a shot to overthrow us after the draft. We're going to talk about how crazy these two are in this episode, so stay tuned.
What are we? What makes us what we are and what we're going to be? It's grit. It's what we started with last year, guys. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes. I will beat your ass.
Can definitely compete with the big dogs.
10-5 end zone touchdown Detroit Lions.
You guys are unbelievable, man. I'm telling you.
We are driven by Detroit.
Hello, Lions fans, and welcome on back to yet another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and as always, we're diving on in. So here's the thing, folks. I spent quite a while trying to think about how I was realistically going to put this episode together, because this is a really kind of peculiar episode for me, especially around this time of the year. But I decided I was going to put it together because it is talking about the draft, but it's also talking about it in contrast to how the Lions are right now. Here's what I mean by this. The NFL draft, as we know, is almost here. Like, it's literally right there on the brink. Like, we're about a week and a half from the draft happening. And not just Lions fans, all NFL fans are excitedly awaiting for the opening of the NFL draft, where, you know, Commissioner Roger Goodell comes out and he's like, I officially declare the 2024 NFL draft open, blah, 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 blah. And here's the thing about this draft. There's a lot of players that are considered star players. There's a lot of star power in this draft, especially coming out of the college ranks. And not only is there a lot of star power coming out, there's a lot of intrigue that is surrounding certain teams. Now, obviously, the Lions are one of them. Brad Holmes, I'm going to say this right now. Brad Holmes is not just the best drafting NFL GM, but I consider him one of, if not the best NFL GM in the NFL right now, and certainly in Lions history. And for me, I expect that Brad Holmes is going to yet again knock out another great draft this upcoming year. And the fact with the draft being in Detroit, obviously the Lions certainly have a lot of intrigue. There's a lot of excitement around them. But I would also say this. One of the other teams that there's a lot of excitement about, there's a lot of intrigue about, is one of the division rivals of the Lions, and that's the Chicago Bears. And the reason why is because the Bears hold the number 1 overall pick, which they are all but guaranteed to use to draft USC quarterback Caleb Williams. Now, Caleb Williams. Most NFL analysts view Caleb Williams as what I would call a can't-miss prospect. He is a guy that most everyone will say, hey, he's a once-in-a-generational talent. And I've heard some people say that he's the best quarterback talent that has come out in a long, long time, and that the Bears are going to have a steal with him, even if he is the number 1 overall pick. And again, you know what? He might be. I don't know. The thing with quarterbacks that are coming out of the first round is that, you know what, if there's one thing I've learned is that quarterbacks in the first round, it is a very much a hit or miss prospect. It is a 50-50 toss-up. I don't care who you talk to. If they say this guy's great, I'll be like, listen, we'll wait and see what happens, because I've heard too many quarterbacks that have come out and they're like, oh, this guy will be great in the NFL, and they wind up being busts. And you know what? I don't give a damn what Caleb Williams is. He still hasn't taken a snap in the NFL. So, could it possibly happen? Could he be the guy that makes the Bears relevant again? Maybe. But that's just NFL analysts talking there. That's whatever. But what really makes my blood boil, what really gets my skin crawling, is when I see Bears fans on social media that not only think, one, that Caleb Williams is going to make them become relevant again, like it's already happened, like it's already written in the stars or chiseled in stone. But what makes it more intolerable is that this is a guy that has not even taken a damn snap in the NFL, and they already think that he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, and that he's somehow the best quarterback in the NFC North. Hasn't even gotten into the NFL yet, but somehow he's the best one. And you guys all know what I'm talking about. If I can find this meme, I'll put it up. But there's a meme that's been floating out and about where it's like, oh yeah, here are the starting quarterbacks in the NFC North, and some Bears fans are out there trying to proclaim that, you know, Caleb Williams is already the best one, and he hasn't even gotten drafted yet, let alone taken a practice snap. He hasn't even been drafted yet. And to me, that is just absolutely intolerable. It's downright disgusting, in my opinion. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to have some fun with this. Because it's not just the Bears fans that kind of get under my skin, it's also Packers fans, but that's for another reason altogether that's also kind of related to the draft. But let's talk about this whole situation with the Bears for the first part of this. Like I said, many Bears fans believe that drafting Caleb Williams is going to get them to reclaim the NFC North crown, that it's going to take it back from the Detroit Lions. And many believe that, Caleb Williams, Chicago Bears fans wise, believe that, he's going to be the best quarterback and that, all this stuff I'm talking about has already happened. Like, it's going to happen. Well, here's why I think that this is just laughable. And that Bears fans that think this, or any fans that think this, are absolutely, completely delusional. It's laughable. Let's, first and foremost, consider the Chicago Bears quarterback history. Not even just the totality of quarterback history, because that is, good Lord, that is depressing beyond any measure of a doubt. But if you think about it, the best quarterback that the Bears have had in their history was Sid Luckman, a guy who played from 1930 to 1950. That's the time of my grandfather being born, folks. Come on now. 1950? Dude, that's Eisenhower's time as the president. There's no relevancy of that in today's NFL. Back in those days, it was 3 yards and a cloud of dust. That was the name of the game for football. Past Sid Luckman, the next best quarterback you could probably throw out there for the Bears would probably be Jim McMahon. That'd probably be the next one. Past that, the Bears really haven't had any good quarterbacks, because the Bears, if you're a quarterback and you're playing for the Bears, that's pretty much where you're going to have your career die, because it is not a good place for quarterbacks. And that's just in quarterbacks in general. But when you think about how the Bears have been when drafting quarterbacks, oh my God, it gets even worse. Think about this, folks. Since 1999, the quarterbacks that the Bears have drafted in the first round, there have been 4 of them. 1999, they drafted Cade McNown. Then they also got, in 2003, Rex Grossman. 2017, they got Mitch Trubisky. In 2021, they got Justin Fields. I'm just going to say this right now. All of those guys have turned out to be busts. Every single one of them. I know some people can be like, well, you can't say that about Justin Fields. Let's put it this way. You're a bust if you're traded away from your team literally only 3 years after being drafted. Because, I'm sorry, if you don't even finish your first contract with them before the contract negotiations start again, you're a bust. And to me, like I said, the quarterbacks that the Bears have had have just been absolutely laughable. And think about this. The best quarterback that the Bears had from 2000 until now was a quarterback they didn't even draft for. They traded for. It was Jay Cutler when they traded him from the Broncos. He's been the best quarterback that the Bears have had, meaning that the Bears, again, absolutely horrible when it comes to quarterbacks. Absolutely horrendous when it comes to drafting them. Now here's the thing, to bring this all back to Caleb Williams. Let's go back from the whole Bears kind of quarterback history. Now let's take a look at USC. Because the Bears have a quarterback curse, but USC also has a quarterback curse. Because think about this. Take a look at the quarterbacks that have come out of USC that have been drafted since 2000. There are also 4 of them. 2003, you had Carson Palmer. 2006, you had Matt Leinart. 2009, you had Mark Sanchez. And 2018, you had Sam Darnold. Now, outside of Carson Palmer and a couple of seasons with Mark Sanchez, USC quarterbacks have been absolutely notorious for being bombs in the NFL. Absolute total failures. In fact, if you think about how bad it has been for USC quarterbacks, the only other team in the NCAA that is just as bad, just as notorious for quarterback failures has been Ohio State. Now, maybe C.J. Stroud might change that. I don't know. He had one really good year for his rookie year. We'll see how that continues. But again, when it comes to quarterbacks that have come from OSU or from USC, they have almost always been absolutely total failures. Now, this is where I get into this fun part here. Bears fans somehow want to insinuate that adding Caleb Williams will not only break their QB curse, but will also break the USC QB curse. Let's keep a couple things in perspective here. Again, this is why I love the Bears for this conversation, because the Bears have done the best of both worlds. The last quarterback they drafted was from Ohio State. Now they're about to draft a quarterback from USC. So think about this, folks. Let's go back to when Fields was in college. I'm going to put his stats up on the screen. His stats in college actually were not that bad. They were actually pretty good, especially considering the fact that he played in 2020 when COVID came up and pretty much, negated almost all of college football. Well, here's the thing. Take a look at Fields' stats. Those are pretty good. Now take a look at Caleb Williams' stats. If you take a look at his stats as they come up on the screen, it looks like that Caleb Williams actually had a better overall career in college than, Justin Fields did. Now, the reason why is because, again, Justin Fields had to play in a shortened 2020 year compared to Caleb Williams. But think about this. Justin Fields' passer rating in college was better than Caleb Williams. And on top of that, if you'd have plugged those numbers into the NFL like I did, Justin Fields' NFL passer rating in college was better than Caleb Williams. But it doesn't just stop there. I then decided to look at this whole thing too. Justin Fields actually got the OSU team, the Buckeyes, to a championship game, the NCAA championship game in college. Granted, they lost, but Caleb Williams never got the Trojans there. Caleb Williams also not only never got the Trojans to a championship game for the NCAA-like championship, but he also never won the conference championship game for the Pac-12. In fact, he only got there one time and he lost. Justin Fields got there twice and won it both times for the Big Ten. And then, by the way, this is where I'm going to start drawing this in a little bit closer to the relevant time frame of what we're talking about right now. The last 6 games that Caleb Williams was in college for USC, he went 1-5 as a starter. And in those 6 games, I'm going to put the stats up for those 6 games. He looked very, very, very human. 8 touchdowns to 4 interceptions. That's very humanesque for a guy that's supposed to be the generational quarterback that's been coming out for whatever. And then here's the funny part. Of those 5 losses that the USC Trojans had with Caleb Williams as the starter, 4 of the 5 were against ranked opponents. So he lost against some of these really good teams, right? But the only win that the Trojans had in that time frame was against the California Bears, and it was a squeaker win. They won 50-49. So over the last 6 games of his college career, Caleb Williams very much came back down to earth. So let's put this in context with the Bears as they are right now in comparison to the Lions. Let's think about this. I know a lot of Bears fans are going to be like, this is just a Lions fan just crying. But okay, let's play some real ball here, Bears fans. Let's be realistic. Okay, you've got DJ Moore, good wide receiver. You traded for Keenan Allen, another good wide receiver. You went out and you signed DeAndre Swift, a pretty, explosive back. I mean, he was drafted by us. We do know something about him. And you also got Cole Kmet. You also got Darnell Mooney. You got some pretty nice playmakers. So I understand that y'all are thinking that those guys are going to definitely help out your ability to try and win. But here's my question to Bears fans. What about your offensive line? What did you guys do really with that? Oh, that's right. Nothing. Here's the thing, folks. Everybody touts about how the Detroit Lions offensive line is one of the best in the NFL, if not the best now. Well, here's the reason why the Lions offensive line is the best. Let's see. First-round draft picks, Taylor Decker, Frank Ragnow, Penei Sewell. Then we also have gotten Kevin Zeitler, and we've also got Graham Glasgow. You've got 3 first-round draft picks on that offensive line that have been drafted by the Lions. How many first-round draft picks have the Bears invested in their offensive line? Oh, that's right, just one, Darnell Wright. And here's the thing. According to PFF last year on the 2023 end-of-the-year final rankings for the offensive line units, the Lions were ranked number 2 behind the Philadelphia Eagles. You want to take a wild guess where the Bears finished in that ranking? 19. Now, here's the reason why I think that the offensive line is going to be a really big predicating factor into Caleb Williams' success. Think about this, folks. I took some look into this as well. Justin Fields last year behind that offensive line, which really has had no substantial improvements added to it this offseason by the Bears. You want to know where he ranked out of the most sacked quarterbacks in the NFL? He was the 5th most sacked quarterback with 44 sacks. I then decided to take a look at this. If PFF had the Bears' offensive line ranked 19th out of 32, I was like, what was Caleb Williams' offensive line ranked in pass blocking in the NCAA? It was ranked 21 out of 133 qualifying teams. That means USC's offensive line ranked in the top 15% out of the entire country. Oh, wait a minute here. I'm not the greatest mathematician, but 19 divided by 32, that's less than 50% because 16 divided by 32 is 50. So Caleb Williams is going to be going from a top echelon offensive line in the college ranks to a bottom offensive line in the NFL ranks. Now, granted, yeah, he'll have DJ Moore, he'll have Keenan Allen, he'll have Cole Kmet, he'll have DeAndre Swift. But here's my problem. DeAndre Swift, yeah, he had 1,000 yards with the Philadelphia Eagles last year, but like I just said, the Philadelphia Eagles had the number 1 ranked offensive line according to PFF. The Bears had number 19. So expect DeAndre Swift's production to fall off the cliff. And also chances are likely that DeAndre Swift's going to get also hurt again because us Lions fans know that DeAndre Swift is pretty much a China doll waiting to happen. That's number 1. Number 2, Keenan Allen. How old is he going into 2024? He's 32 years old. So yeah, he might give you another year of production that's considered quality. Maybe 2. But then after that, who's going to replace him? What are you going to do then? Oh, by the way, after that year or 2 of production's been done, DJ Moore, he's going to be 27 this year. He's going to be 29 in 2 years. Now you got to ask yourself this question. How long are you realistically going to hold on to him and pay for him? And then finally, let's also consider the Bears' schedule this upcoming year. They have to play how many games against qualifying playoff teams from last year? Oh, that's right. They got to play the Packers twice. They got to play the Lions twice. Then they got to play the Rams, the Niners, and the Texans. So that right there is 7 games out of 17 they got to play against playoff qualifying teams from last year. I can already tell you this, between playing the Lions twice, the Packers twice, the Rams, the Niners, and the Texans, they're going to lose anywhere between 4 to 7. They're either going to lose all of those games or at least 4 of them. And that's just my honest opinion. And again, you still haven't figured out the line situation for the Bears. So yeah, I'm just telling you this right now. You ain't got an offensive line. Your quarterback, I don't care if he's Caleb Williams or not. He's going to be freaking running for his life because let's put this in perspective here. Caleb Williams is athletic, but he sure as hell ain't Justin Fields athletic. Justin Fields is a lot faster and a lot more athletically dynamic than Caleb Williams was. So if Caleb Williams ain't as athletic as Justin Fields, and Justin Fields was the 5th most sacked quarterback last year, what do you think that's going to do for him? Just saying, FYI. And then if you keep that in comparison in connection with the Lions, let's go through the Lions right now. Oh, that's right. Jared Goff last year, top 10 quarterback statistically. I'll put those numbers up really quickly just so Bears fans can cry over that and just take a look at that once again. Like I said, last year PFF had the Detroit Lions offensive line ranked 2nd right behind the Eagles, and I expect that the Lions are probably going to be ranked number 1 this year. Last year we had 2 1,000-yard rushers. The Bears didn't even have 1. And their second leading rusher was a quarterback. That quarterback that I just mentioned, they got sent to the Steelers. We have Amon-Ra St. Brown. We have one of the most speediest wide receivers in Jamison Williams. We have one of, if not the best tight end that's up and coming in Sam Laporta. We have the best offensive coordinator in Ben Johnson. And I'm sorry, but our coach and Dan Campbell makes Eberflus look like a wuss. So there's that. But again, that's just the Bears. Now let's talk about the Packers, because I'm not just going to totally dog on the Bears, even though I love that part about this, but let's talk about the Packers really quickly here. I don't give a damn about the Vikings. Vikings or whatever. I will say that right now. I'm not really going to talk about the Vikings in this episode because, realistically, I think the Vikings are toast. Because they've already stated that if they can't get a quarterback in the first round because they're trying to trade up for one, they're just going to run with Sam Darnold. I'm telling you this right now. The Vikings run with Sam Darnold. Oh, yeah, you might get a quarterback to start next year, but chances are you're probably going to lose out on Justin Jefferson because Justin Jefferson's already not in a good place with the Vikings as it is. But I digress. Let's get back to the Packers. The Packers. I know this for a fact. There are a lot of Packers fans that are out there saying, oh, Jordan Love, he caught on fire last year. He's going to do great this year, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, okay, yeah, you know what? I'll give the Packers some love. I'll give them some credit. Yeah, Packers. They went to the playoffs last year. They trounced the Cowboys in Jerry World, won a playoff game, got to the divisional round. So yeah, the Packers definitely did pretty damn good last year. I'll give them their due. However, let's keep some things in perspective here. They still don't have the overall team talent that the Lions do. The Lions really don't have a weakness on offense. The Packers have some weaknesses on offense. And then the Lions' defense is only going to continue to get better. And what was that? The Lions' rush defense, I forget, what was that last year? Top 5 or something? So realistically, once we get at least an average passing defense, good luck to anybody. But let's think about this. The reason why I think the Packers are not as good as Packers fans would like to think they are, again, let's keep this in perspective here. The Lions' overall coaching staff is better than the Packers. Oh yeah, sure, you've got Matt LaFleur, but who's your defensive coordinator? Oh, that's right, you had to hire a new one because you got so tired of the one you had last year, so you got to learn a whole new defensive scheme. At least we've had the same coaching staff together for the last 3, now going on 4 years. So there's that. Also, again, like I said with the Bears, the Packers have got 6 different teams that they've got to play not 6 different teams. They got 6 different games against 5 teams that they got to play for playoff qualifying opponents from 2023, twice against the Lions, the Rams, the 49ers, and the Texans. So it's like, okay here. You've got, the Eagles. I forgot about them. So right there, again, you've got 6 different games against qualifying opponents that were playoff teams last year. And again, I fully expect that the Packers are probably going to lose at least 4 or 5 of them. They might be able to pull off a win one time against us, maybe beat the Eagles, in my opinion. But anyway, the main real issue I have with the Packers is everybody that's a Packers fan just keeps touting and talking about how Jordan Love is going to be the 3rd next quarterback for the Packers because they had Brett Favre and then they had Aaron Rodgers. Now they're going to have Jordan Love. And you know what? Again, kind of to keep it with the Caleb Williams mindset, that very well might be the case. But here's what I do know. When it comes to quarterbacks do sometimes have a tendency to have what is known as a sophomore slump. And I fully expect that Jordan Love's going to probably be at least in for a bit of a bumpy ride this year, because here's the reason why. Again, if there's one thing I know about Brad Holmes, he is going to be going all in to try and fix the passing game problems that the Lions have had over the last couple of years. The rush defense got fixed last year. Now it's time to get the pass defense fixed this year. And here's the other thing I know, is that Jordan Love, even though he has spent the last couple of years on the bench, I also know this, like I said, sophomore slump. There have been quite a couple of quarterbacks over the last, 20-something years that after they had a really good or somewhat decent first year as a starter, that the very next year that they were the starter, they kind of fell off a little bit of a cliff. And why is that the case? The reason why is because after a full year in the NFL, all these teams now have got a full year's worth of tape on you. They know what your tendencies are going to be. They now know what to expect from you. You ain't hiding from anybody now. And what do I mean by this? Well, let's think about some of the quarterbacks that I can just list right here on this list that I made from doing some research. Matt Ryan, sophomore slump. Sam Bradford, Vince Young, Daniel Jones, Mac Jones, Drew Brees even had a sophomore slump the second year he was the starter for the Chargers. Brandon Weeden, RG3, Baker Mayfield, Josh Rosen. These are all guys, save one of them, Drew Brees being the only one, that were first-round draft picks. And let's think about this. Drew Brees is really the only one of them that's really had a pretty, I would say, Hall of Fame worthy career. Matt Ryan maybe in 2 or 3 decades when there's nobody else left, but realistically, the only 2 quarterbacks on there that have had successful careers were Ryan and Brees. Baker Mayfield has had an average career, but again, most of these guys have fallen short, again, save Brees and Ryan, from that first round draft billing that they had, except for, again, Brees, who was in the second round. My whole point is this. The Packers, yeah, they've got a better team than the Bears. In fact, the way I would look at the hierarchy of the NFC North is this. Lions 1, Packers 2, Bears 3, and Vikings are in the basement. And again, the thing between the Bears and the Packers is that the Packers actually had a team that made it to the playoffs, and they've already got their quarterback in place. The Bears have to hope and pray that the guy that they draft, Williams, comes in and saves the day. Because here's the thing with the Bears that really gets me puzzled, is that the Bears are banking everything they've got for their future, for their entire franchise to work on Caleb Williams. And it's like, listen, what did I say about quarterbacks in the first round? It's a crapshoot. It is literally a 50-50 toss ball. It may or may not work. Because, again, we've seen guys that have come out in the NFL draft in the first round, and everyone said that they were can't miss. They were going to be great prospects. And they bombed. And then we've seen quarterbacks that everyone thought, hey, they were going to be journeymen, and then they wound up having absolutely stellar careers. So again, you never know what you're going to get with quarterback. And as far as I'm concerned, again, going back to the whole thing with USC and the Bears, it's not looking very promising for Caleb Williams being able to break that trend, to buck it. But again, we'll see what happens. I just, again, wanted to make this episode because for Bears fans and Packers fans that think, oh yeah, it's our time, we're going to take the North back. Just remember this one thing, my friends, my division rival fans, Bears and Packers, it's still our division until further notice. And since we're the kings in the North, that means you got to bow down to us because we rightfully own it. And until further notice, I want to see that knee on the ground. Just FYI. But anyway, just wanted to end this episode and just want to say thank you all for watching another episode of MCM Motor City Mania. I'm your host, David T. Pike, and I hope you all enjoyed the content. If you did, I hope you all do one of these three things: like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. If by chance you subscribed in the past and you forgot to do so at the time, and I just want to highly encourage y'all please to do this. Please make sure you subscribe. It really helps out the channel. But again, also, after you subscribe, please make sure you hit that bell notification icon as well, so that way you never miss any more content that I push out. Again, subscription numbers, they're always going up, but we want to make sure you guys turn on that notification icon, so that way you never miss out on any more content that I push out. And again, please subscribe. I don't want to keep harping on it, but we are almost to 6,000 subscribers, so let's keep that good effort going into this. And I also encourage y'all to share this content with your Lions friends and family members. Share it here on YouTube, share it on Twitter, share it on Facebook, share it anywhere and everywhere you can with everybody and anybody that you can. The more we can share it, the greater the channel grows, the greater the channel spreads. And with that being said, folks, I just want to again say to everybody, hope y'all are having a great day. Hope y'all are doing well. I hope y'all have got something that makes you happy, makes you smile, and I hope y'all enjoyed the content. And with that being said to everybody, God bless, and until the next time we meet, I'll see you all in the next episode.